In order to make a 100% hemp fabric, you require special machineries, special tools for hemp. There is this thing called cottonized hemp that becomes more and more famous now in the States and around the world. This is basically a Chinese invention. And it was born when someone thought that, look, we have a lot of cotton machineries and a lot of cotton spinning mills. Why don't we try to spin?
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. For those of you that log on, I'd love to have you join in for questions. I'm really excited about this interview this morning. I'm not even going to try to pronounce your name again. I'm going to say it wrong.
Shoot.
Ionut. I don't know.
It's easy. It's really easy. It's Ionut Rus. Yes, excellent pronunciation. Beautiful pronunciation.
So for those of you that join and are wondering where I'm struggling, is what he sent over to me to pronounce it is not what in English the way that it should be said. And so I was just cracking up as I read it again. But anyways, but thank you so much for joining. I'm really excited to have you. Hemp fashion and hemp textiles has become a passion that I didn't think that I would have. It's kind of interesting. I got in because I'm really passionate about the building supplies, and where GHA really took off is around the textile side and clothing. You and I were just talking backstage about vertically integrated also. And so those are things that really, pique my interest, especially in the fashion side. So before we get started, do you mind giving yourself a little intro, telling us who you are, how you got into this, and really what's your why? Why did you start this? How did you get into this?
Yes. So my name is Ionut Rus. I am now live from the city of Sibiu, which is in the heart of Romania, in a region called Transylvania, famously known probably for vampires and forests and haunted castles. But outside of Dracula, we also have here and we grow hemp. And I am the founder and creative director of a company called Ionescu. That is Delta Echo India Oscar November Echo Sierra Charlie Umbrella. I think I got it right. I got it right. Yes, and we operate here locally. We have an atelier. We call it like a tailor shop. We are 14 people basically, and we specialize in men's fashion, basically focusing on made-to-measure and bespoke hemp suits. We are vertically integrated to the extent that we create our own hemp fabric. So because what we do is quite unique, and in that respect, we also like to come up with a fabric that feels like no other. We don't want other hemp brands or other brands to have this type of feeling of the fabric that we have, and this is why it's very important for us to create our own 100% pure hemp fabric. We are a hemp fashion brand. That is to say that we do not work with other fabrics, even though we got a lot of interest, and maybe it makes sense from some points of view to blend hemp with cotton or with organic cotton. We call ourselves a hemp fashion brand. So in that respect, we are true to the hemp plant. We walk the talk. In this respect, yes.
Okay, I'm impressed. So there's a lot of interest, right? And we talk a lot about the blend of the hemp fabric. What challenges have you found? Tell me kind of what this journey has looked like, and what does this mean to be vertically integrated? Or for those that may not understand, or for those that are in the industry and looking to blend, like how'd you do it?
Well, there are a couple of advantages and disadvantages when it comes to blends. So the big advantage is that first, it's cheaper. In order to make a 100% hemp fabric, you require special machineries, special tools for hemp. There is this thing called cottonized hemp that becomes more and more famous now in the States and around the world. This is basically a Chinese invention. And it was born when someone thought that, look, we have a lot of cotton machineries and a lot of cotton spinning mills. Why don't we try to spin hemp via a cotton machinery? So how do we do that? That means we take the fiber, long as it is, and we break it into very small pieces, chemically, of course, in order to come up with a type of fiber which you can further spin and weave via your cotton machineries. This is basically cottonized hemp. The advantage, first of all, is that it's cheaper, because the yarn and the fiber of cotton, it's cheaper than the one of hemp. It's easier to find it. Second. Third, it's also easier to work with, because you can also make, let's say, knitted fabric. And so a lot of t-shirts are made out of this. When you work with just 100% hemp, the challenges are that you need to find first the right tools. Second, you're willing to pay more. And then you must consider that you need to charge more in that respect. What is very important is also in terms of the finishing line. How do you finish the fabric, or if you buy it as it is, by the meter or by the yard, from someone, from a company. So there are many challenges. I would say that the main ones are the fact that you need to find the right tools, the right machineries, and unfortunately, these machineries, they no longer exist. Maybe to give like a quick, short insight, very good company that you can look into if you want to basically work with 100% and you want to make, let's say, 100% hemp fabric locally. It should be a company called Mandi International.
Okay,
Now, Mandi International is it's no longer exists. It's a company from Belfast, Northern Ireland. They were really specialists when it came to hemp tools, hemp machineries. There was also actually, again, we need to talk in the past about these companies that used to create special machineries for hemp. There was a company in Romania called Unirea, which was also specialized just in hemp machineries. So you need to look basically for companies, unfortunately, that no longer exist, but that they used to focus in this field. And if you ever get a Mandi machinery, the company was called Mandi International. Maybe people that are listening to this can search it on Wikipedia. They were really the best. We are fortunate here, very fortunate here, to still have access to such machineries, and so we can work with long hemp fibers. Another challenge is that if you do have specific hemp machineries in order to do basically all the processing, you cannot really work with cottonized hemp. So this is something that we have. We can only work with long hemp fibers because the old tools that we are using are not compatible with the newly cottonized hemp fibers.
Right.
So that is a big problem, because even in Europe nowadays there are companies that because of this lack of technology, because people are not we need to develop faster these technologies. They just get this technology mostly from China, but you can also get it from Belgium, for example, and you can cottonize your hemp fibers. It's quite easy, and the process is quite straightforward if you have the right people to explain you how this works. And maybe for, I don't want to throw numbers, but like maybe for $10 million, maybe 8 million euros, let's say, you can come up with a quite a nice facility, let's say, in which you can grow the hemp. You can obviously grow it, because that's what we try to do in here. We try to go from crop to shop. We basically try to grow, as I heard an American call it, from dirt to shirt. We try to that's what it means basically to be vertically integrated. We want to make everything under one rooftop. You know, we want to grow the hemp, and we want to come up with a bespoke hemp suit or hemp trousers out of the same factory. And it can be like a lifetime project, basically. Yeah.
So tell me where you've had the most success from supply chain of crop to shop. You know, where has it been the most successful and compared to the most challenging? You know, and where has your access to this technology really given you an advantage?
Well, the most success, of course, from an economical point of view, it comes towards the end of this value chain. So in other words, the closer you are to the end customer, the better it is for your brand. So and also you are able, again, from a financial point of view, to have a better profit margin. But then it's also the risk. You also get other risks, because, for instance, let's say you cultivate, you grow the crops. If you're at the beginning of this value chain, let's say you get profit, let's say $1. If you go to the next process, if you're going to do the retting stage, you might get slightly more profit than the one that it was just cultivated. Maybe $1.2 you get profit. I don't know. I'm just saying. If you go further, if you do the breaking and the carding and everything, then you might get a little bit more than the previous one. The spinning facility gets a little bit more profit. So the weaving facility then gets a little bit extra than the spinning. So the closer you move, the closer you get to the end client, the better it is for your brand. Also, people know, for instance, they look at the brand. When they buy the clothes, they look at the brand. They don't know who made it. They don't know who grew the hemp or who grew this. So obviously, but that also comes with challenges, because you need to make stocks. You need to, when you have fiber, you cannot work with 100 kilograms. You need to work in tons. So you must also make investments, and that's a big risk that you take. Basically, maybe it's a higher risk than the previous people in the value chain, but also the rewards are higher. Let's say, because people, again, they remember the brand. Yes, so that's where it was, I guess, the most successful. The last part, the marketing side, connecting to the end client, trying to understand what do they want. The advantage that we have, because you mentioned this, because we do all this, is first because we can come up with it's a benefit for the client. Actually, we come up with a fabric, with a 100% hemp fabric, where we do not use any chemicals. Everything that we process, it's mechanically processed. It's not chemically processed. Again, this takes a lot of time, and we are only lucky because we do have access to this technology. It's a little bit on older technology. The machineries that we are working, for instance, for weaving are Soviet machineries from the 70s, are called STB, Sierra Tango Bingo, STB weaving machineries, and the beauty of all this is that we can come up with a fabric which is indeed much more organic, much more sustainable, much more biodegradable, because basically what these machineries are doing is what the peasants were doing back in the days, but in an industrial way, let's say. Yeah. Basically, that's what the first machineries invented for hemp did in the 50s. When here in our country we had what we call the Soviet industrialization. Because we were in Eastern Europe, we were, let's say, under the sphere of influence of the Soviet Union. And so when the Soviet industrialization came, they basically brought in this technology. What we did in the 50s was to get this technology, to learn from it, and then to give an update in the 70s. The Romanian government, it was a communist party, the Romanian Communist Party made an update to this. Here, hemp is more like a cultural plant. It's viewed. And that is another topic, because the traditional outfits around in Eastern Europe are made out of hemp and linen. Peasants, basically, they made hemp for their traditional outfits around Eastern Europe, not only Romania, also in ex-Yugoslavia, also in Hungary, Bulgaria, Greece, just Ukraine and Russia, around here. So it's I guess it's a cultural thing to grow hemp. It's something that it's deeply rooted in our culture, and that's why the communists, they were very comfortable cultivating it. The hemp, for instance, in our country, it was not stigmatized as it was in the US, for instance, or as it was in Western Europe. There was never a problem in this respect, especially because it was like there from the very early days, from the Neolithic time. Our ancestors, the Thracians, they were cultivating hemp, they were making clothes out of hemp. So it was like a continuation, basically, of the ancestors, of the people that were living there.
So what do you think the US can really learn from you guys? From Romania? What do you think we really should be listening and paying attention to as our, we're so far behind, especially when it comes to seeds and what to grow where and varieties and so forth?
So I will start by saying I don't think you're too far behind. If you would ask me, I think US, in comparison with Europe, hemp-wise, it's maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, but the way that this boomed after December 2018, after the Farm Bill was signed, I think it's really this distance. It's going to close down over the next years, because here we don't make the same I think advancements that you make nowadays. You move very fast, and I see a lot of interest. I would love, I think, in the US to find out more people and companies that are interested in the fiber and not just in the CBD, because I feel that in the CBD right now in the States, it's like the real estate in 2008. It's about to create a boom at one point. It's going to explode at one point, and many people are going to go away. Prices are going to probably going to normalize at one point, and people are going to look for something else. And there is another thing here. For instance, in Europe, many people talk about this CBD, because there are like some pharmaceutical companies here in Europe, in Switzerland, which are trying to create some regulations on CBD. So they try to make it like a drugstore, like you would like we call, like maybe not everyone can sell paracetamol or this type. Maybe only a few people, maybe a few companies can do that, because not everyone can do that. So you cannot do the same with fiber. So I think people should, what in the US should learn is that people that are listening to this, I think they should slowly move, if they care about the future of the hemp plant, in the fiber, because there are so many things that you can do with it, and they're like the options are endless, and people are not interested in this, because obviously you make much more money out of CBD, but that is for the short term. For the long term, you should really think, how are we going to process this fiber? Because out of this fiber, you can make houses, and now that's a big thing. You can make now, for instance, they're like 3D houses, right? Imagine if you can make 3D houses with hemp.
Yeah.
It can be fun. Not to mention paper, packaging, all these things. And I think what people in the US should learn is that they should really start not by making textiles, because when we make textiles in here, we work with long fibers. Now, a 2 meters, imagine a 2 meters fiber. Let me see, 2 meters in inches. In inches, it's like 78-inch fiber. Okay, that's maybe going to be difficult at first to obtain that. Maybe you don't have the machineries to obtain 78 inches long fiber. So what you should start with short fiber. And with short fiber, go steadily, go with animal bedding. It's a good market. It's going to be a crazy market. Make packages, paper out of hemp. So start slowly with everything that you can use out of the short fiber. And then when you master the short fiber, when you in the US, you're going to be #1 in the world in terms of everything that you can do with short fiber, then I would recommend, okay, look into long hemp fibers. How can we get 80 inches long hemp fiber so we make fine hemp clothing?
Okay, I have a couple things. One, I want to point this out. This I got from a trade show a couple months ago. It's 3D printed with hemp. So when you're talking about the hemp houses, right? This is a perfect like small model example. Exactly. And it is so light. It's cool. But I want to talk about decorticating for a second. When you guys are in-house and we're talking about this long fiber, I mean, long fiber is not being produced here in the US. There are a couple of, I shouldn't say it's not, but you hit the nail on the head when we talk about, there's a lot of talk about cottonizing so that we can utilize existing infrastructure to actually grow and blend with hemp. This long fiber is very rarely discussed. And in my opinion, outside of clothes, that's the market, because then it becomes structural, right? Because then it's added to replace steel and things like that. So talk to me about the decorticating process.
The process, yes. So basically, it depends very much on where you're located in the globe when you grow hemp. So because we are contacted by many people that are interested in long hemp fiber, but they grow hemp for CBD. So very important, first of all, you cannot make clothes if you out of the hemp fiber that you grow it for CBD. You must first of all select the right hemp cultivars. That is very important.
That really quick. Is it male or female plant?
So it depends a little bit. What we've noticed in here, we have ever since the 80s, we had here a department for research and development. It's called Lovrin in Romania, in Western Romania, and we created our own hemp cultivars since 1981. The first hemp cultivar they created was Lovrin 110, and then the next year Lovrin 111. Here people came to the conclusion that for best hemp textiles, to grow the best hemp fiber for fine textiles, you should not mix them. Because I saw that, for instance, in the weed market, in the marijuana market, in order to come up with new things, they try to interbreed the plants. So they try to come up with something new that is not on the market. This is not good. This is something that you should not do in order to grow hemp fiber for fine hemp textiles. Let's say you can maybe do it for ropes and twines, but again, that is something that you can make out of the short hemp fiber. But if you talk about fine hemp clothing, you want to reach, let's say, to the same level as, maybe not, still would be too much because it's too fine in terms of the yarn, but you want to reach maybe the level of linen.
Yeah.
Okay. Then like you cannot do that.
Like wool, like a wool.
Or wool. So basically, what is very important is to start with the right hemp cultivar. Here we have a couple of hemp cultivars. We have something called Dacia Secuieni. We have another one called Fibra Multa. These are the local ones that people use in order to grow hemp for textiles. And then it depends. I was mentioning it depends on your geographical position, because after you harvest it, let's say, it depends if you do what is called dew retting or you do water retting. So the dew retting means that you and since I mentioned, maybe it's good to make this comparison. So when you harvest the linen, you basically pull it out of the ground with the bulb, and you do dew retting, and meaning that you leave it on the ground for like 10 to 14 days, let's say, sometimes maybe 3 weeks, up to 3 weeks time. This is done mostly in humid places, in countries like the Netherlands, like France, like Belgium, which are very humid, let's say in July. So it's really good if you just leave the linen on the ground, and the rain, the dew, whatever, it's going to basically do the retting stage for you. In Romania, this is not the case. So we are forced to do what our ancestors did, meaning water retting. What does this mean? And this is something that can also be implemented. And we can talk about the challenges of implementing the water retting. When you do dew retting, like in linen, like for linen, for instance, the process, the disadvantage is that the process, it's not very controlled. It's not under control. It depends a little bit on the weather. It depends what the gods want.
Does mold, like when you do you run into mold issues ever that become an issue for processing, or when it's
not for hemp? I don't know for linen. But I don't know for linen because I don't know. But not for hemp. No, that's not a problem. So basically, we cannot do that simply because here in Romania it's not humid enough in July. So we need to put it in water. And in order to put it on the water, first, that's very expensive. Believe it or not, water started to be traded at the New York Stock Exchange. Water is not an infinite resource, right? So it's more and more expensive. You need to always have water at your disposal, basically, and you must have basically like large pools, huge pools, let's say, where you have an engineer. This is also something that in the US you need to get people that know, that have done this before, and they know that, okay, you're going to create like some bundles. When you harvest the hemp, you cut it. You don't pull it out of the ground with the bulb like for linen. You just cut it. You can do dew retting if you grow short fibers. It's perfect for short fibers. You can do dew retting. You can leave it for 2 weeks or 3 weeks on the ground, depending on where you're located again. And it's a perfect beginning, let's say. But for long, fine hemp textiles, if you want to make, you need to do water retting. That means you need to put everything under control. You need to have someone that are going to create bundles, meaning they're going to pick up fibers that pretty much look the same, and they believe that, okay, we can keep this for 10 days underwater or for 11 days underwater. And that's very important. So the problem is the following. You need to have a water filtration system, because people like to think that everything is good about hemp, but there are also some disadvantages, like to everything else in this world. So for instance, the water where you kept the hemp fibers, after 10 days, it becomes residual. And if you do this in a river, it's going to kill the fishes. Right. So it's not good. It's not good for the environment. So you need to make a water filtration system to put the water back in the nature, basically in a way that it's safe and it's green and it's ecological for the environment. So that is also very, very important when you do water retting. But otherwise, if you do have water at your disposal, if you do have the money to create these large pools, to get the people, which I think it's really what is needed, to find the right people. We also have this problem in here, because it's probably the biggest challenge, if you ask me. Is like, okay, we have now a water retting engineer. If he, I don't know, something happens to him, we don't have another one. And that is like a big problem. What are we trying to do? We try to bring young people out of university, trying to learn this job. Right. Because we need to pass on this knowledge basically to the next generation. Not to become tabula rasa, not to become blank. Right. So water retting, yes. There is another form of retting which is done, which I think can be maybe also suitable for the US. It's called enzyme retting. Enzyme retting, it's from what I understood, I don't know very well the process. There is a lady in Romania that patented a type of enzyme retting for hemp. She is, I think her name is Madame Sârghi from Universitatea Arad, again in Western Romania. And she patented a way of enzyme retting for hemp. From what I understood, I think it's pretty much like like a dryer. I think you put the hemp like in a dryer and it just dries it out. But again, I don't know very well the process, but it can be something that could be interesting and people can look into it. Enzyme retting. And
okay, so I have a question about your water retting, right?
Yeah, please.
When is the lignans separated, and when are you're retting it, it's breaking it up. Now where does it go to the second piece of processing to separate the hurd and the fiber, the long fiber?
Yes. So basically, usually you keep it in water, again, depending on the bundles, depending if it's autumn hemp or summer hemp. This also depends a lot. Let's say you keep it for like between 10 to 14 days. That is pretty much on average, let's say. After that, the first stage is something called breaking. We call it breaking. I don't know if I have the right terminology. Breaking meaning that you have, so the hemp fibers afterwards, they're pretty much like wooden sticks, if you want. So you have a machinery that you put them through, and it breaks them into small pieces. So you just have the fiber. In a way, it looks very tangled. So in order to make it more clean, we use a combing machinery. A combing machinery, we have a vertical Soviet combing machinery with a lot of Exactly. It's like with the comb, but they're made out of iron, So just like when you comb your hair.
Yeah,
there is a ton of them.
Yep.
Yes. Yes, and it just cleans the long hemp fiber, and what falls on the ground, it's the short fiber, because out of processing long hemp fibers, you can also have short hemp fibers, which you can further use for packaging and etc. Many things. So you basically do the carding, and if people go on our Instagram page, the Ionescu Instagram page, or if people go to my LinkedIn, I think a couple of months ago, maybe last year, I posted a video from the factory on how this combing machinery looks like and what does the combing machinery does. So I invite people that are interested in this, that want to really see the process, to do it. They need to scroll a little bit down, because I think it was posted last year. We also posted the weaving and all the process in between, but people can search on that. We are lucky again to have this very old machinery, which was first put into function in 1952, and believe it or not, we use the same machinery today. And what would be good, what would be great would be to have like maybe some engineers that can come and that can scan the machinery. They could digitalize it, and they can reproduce it, or maybe improve it, make a version 2.0. So that would be probably the most fashionable way to enter into the textile market, not by doing cottonized hemp, but by really working with long hemp fibers like the peasants used to do in the old days. So just enter on the Ionescu Instagram page, scroll a little bit down until you see an old Soviet machinery, and then you can play the video so people can see. So after that, we have the long hemp fiber, and you can make a yarn. Normally, when you make the yarn, you pretty much care about the metric finest number of the yarn, and that's pretty much means how thin or how thick the yarn is.
Talk to me about what standards you're seeing. This is brought up a lot. What's needed by spinners in order to produce? Because a lot of the big fiber also, when we talk about producing, right? If we're
Yes.
growing fiber and this big around, that means the fiber itself or the stalk is really big. Then the fiber itself is typically bigger in diameter, right?
It depends pretty much. So after the combing, the next stage is the spinning. And it's very important for you to have an idea when you do the spinning. You must have an idea, what do you want to do with the final product? Right. Because you can spin something which is very thin. From my experience, if you want to spin 100% hemp fibers, let's say, and you don't want to mix them with anything else, here in Romania, we can do maximum 20:1. That is to say, the length in meters corresponding to 1 gram. You need 20 meters of yarn in order to have 1 gram of yarn. Basically, that is called the metric finest number of the yarn. Here in Romania, we do maximum 20:1. If you do cottonized hemp, you can do 36:1. You can do, I know people that do 50:1. But that means you need to put chemicals in order to make the hemp fiber so thin that you can actually get to these numbers. We ourselves, for the coats and the jackets that we produce, we work with 10:1. That's what we use, 10:1. It's probably the most popular one and most common one. If we want to make something which is a little bit more thin, or thinner, sorry, which is thinner, then we use 14:1. For 14:1, we use it for shorts. We use it for summer trousers. When someone says they want to purchase a pair of 100% hemp trousers, we always ask, where are you from? If you're from the Scandinavian countries, or if you're from Spain, and it's different parts of Europe, if you're like from sunny California or you're from Alaska, we're not going to make out of the same yarn, because we also need to make it based on what do you need. So if it's someone from Alaska, then I'm going to make the pair of trousers out of 10:1. If it's from sunny California, then 14:1 or 16:1. 16:1, it's really good for shirts, for formal shirts, for instance. You can do them, and it goes up to 20:1, out of which, let's say, it's so thin that you can make a scarf. But you can also go to 5:1, meaning that you can make something like rugs, so very thick, 5:1, only 5 meters to get to 1 gram. Or what we can also do in spinning, you can twist, so you make something like 16:2. That is to say, you have a 16:1 yarn, and you twist it once, and you have 16:2. It's a very fine fabric. And you can also use it for home designs and carpets if you want, and it can be very many things around the house. Okay. So it depends very much, what do you want to make afterwards. That's how you need to ask the spinner what to do for you. If you want something, okay, I want to make a spring summer collection, then you should aim for something 14:1, 16:1, 18:1, basically. For something more thick, you go to 10:1, and after that you have the yarn, and you go to weaving. Right. And again, it depends on very much the machineries. Another challenge is that not many weavers want to do 100% hemp fabrics, because why? First, you need specific machineries again that were designed to cope with that yarn, which is again very thick in comparison with what you can do with cotton. With cotton, maybe you can get to 100+1, or linen, which is again a linen. It's a shorter plant. It's a 1 meter plant. The fiber, it's thinner, so it's easier to spin it. Hemp can get very tall plant, very thick fiber, so it can be a little bit more difficult. That's why most of the people, they blend hemp with cotton, because they're not going to erode their machineries. Their machineries are going to maybe, let's say if you do just hemp, maybe your machineries are going to need an update in 5 years. But if you do hemp with cotton, maybe the same machineries can last up to 10, 15 years. Wow. So So that's why people they don't want to do just pure hemp in that respect. But and after you have that, it comes the finishing part, and there are many ways in which you can finish a fabric. You can finish it with something called air finishing technology. It's like you push a lot of air to the fabric, and this makes it it gives us like a very smooth effect. Or you can pre-wash the fabric. That's what we do. Of course, every time we before we make a collection or before we make a new piece of a new hemp item, we pre-wash the fabric, because this first the pair of trousers, for instance, are never going to shrink for you. You can machine wash them. You can machine wash them 1,000 times. They're just going to become more fine, but they're never going to shrink. So the customer loves it. You know, the trousers are always going to stay the same if we do the pre-washing before. And normally you lose a lot of fabric to this as a producer, because you can lose up to 20% of your fabric, which is crazy in textile. But you can come up with a product, obviously, that will stay the same for many, many years to come. So clients, they absolutely love it when I can tell them, look, just machine wash them, they're going to stay the same. No 3 to 5% shrinkage, no 10% shrinkage. This fabric will stay the same. It's just going to become softer. And obviously afterwards, after we have the fabric, after it's pre-washed and it's finished, we basically bring it to our tailor shop, where we basically create the designs, and we come up with collections. We come up with now we have a spring summer collection called Earth Collection, in which we tried pretty much to avoid everything that we felt that it was cliche, or because many people think that if you like hemp or if you wear hemp, you're a hippie, you know, and we want to show that that's not true. You can wear a bespoke hemp suit, for instance, and you can go to your job on Wall Street, or you can go to corporate America in hemp. You can go to European Parliament in Brussels if you want, wearing hemp. Hemp, it's not for hippies. You can make so many things out of it, that just because, but again, this is part, it comes with education. Because again, when you tell people, hey, you want to, you have a look at these hemp trousers, they always think they're like this Indian Alibaba trousers, you know, that someone made them in the 70s. Type of thing. So when you tell them, oh, I can make a pair of tailor-made the hemp trousers, or bespoke hemp trousers, you can pick all the details, the pockets, the seams, it comes like a shock. And that's why we're focused on the high-end hemp fashion. High-end because this fabric is very rare. We go through a lot in order to get it here. So obviously the price for it, it's very different than because honestly, you know, sometimes I go to the local shopping mall or something like that, and I see these companies making trousers. We cannot get to that price. Just the sewing costs us more. Just the sewing, not, you know, it's incredible how they make them so cheap. It's incredible. Like it's unbelievable.
It should be a red flag. You know, again, this wasn't even I shouldn't say it wasn't a thought. I did not connect the dots that how connected human trafficking or labor is to our fabrics and our clothes, right? And that if we're buying something for $5, $10, $20, and it's made in another country and grown in another country, you know, who's getting paid for that? Where is the cost?
And it's not secondhand, and it's brand new. It's not from an outlet. It's not, you know, it's brand new.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It costs you more the shipping, you know, just to make a $5 t-shirt. It's crazy. Yes, it's definitely a red flag.
Yeah,
it's definitely.
And so I think, and let's talk about how long it lasts. You know, it's this, you're starting to see a big shift. It's consumer driven around, you know, things that last. Where did it come from? What's its origin? Not just where was it manufactured or made, but also sourced. you know, and that this shift of disposable, everything being disposable, to taking care of things like we've owned them and plan to own them for the rest of our lives.
Yes,
So
indeed.
you know, I see huge, hemp is known for its tensile, you know, how long it lasts and its ability to be recycled so much more. And yeah, so talk to me about that piece of this.
Well, it's a very nice topic. If you don't use any chemicals while you process it, you can pretty much just leave it on the ground, and in a couple of years it's going to integrate with the planet. It's going to be, so you don't like to wear the pair of trousers, you can just throw them in the nature, just like you can throw a banana, let's say. It's just like that. But it depends on how many chemicals are using to process it, because you can wear hemp clothing, but or let's say the first layer is that you want to wear hemp clothing, and that's good. The next layer is to actually find out where was it made, who made it, where was it sourced, how was it finished, how was it processed. But not, people don't care about that at the initial stage. They just want to wear hemp, and that's very good. Very happy when.
Yeah, but I think that what we're seeing, especially in fashion, is this shift to sustainable. I mean, the fashion industry has a huge footprint on our carbon and garbage and water, and so I think that we really are seeing this shift. And I'd like to say that it's coming whether we want it to or not, right? But I agree with you that right now, as long as we're even processing or wanting to wear hemp, I also just doubt that everything labeled as hemp is really hemp.
Yes. So you never know. You never know. Basically, it's a very new market. It's a market in diapers, if you want, especially hemp textiles. You require of course some regulations, and this is going to come. This is definitely going to come. You require of course, it's a vicious circle, because if nobody purchases it because it's expensive, it's going to remain expensive. If more people are going to purchase it, if more people are going to cultivate it, are going to grow it, the more processors, then you can bring hemp, let's say, at a level, not obviously not around cotton, but pretty much around that. But
I think at least competitive.
At least competitive. Exactly.
Within 20%, you think? Because
no.
Then I think
No, 20%. It's very small. No. You a little bit more. Because right now the difference is it's huge. It's huge between because probably you can get cotton. It depends. Because now it's something called organic cotton, which also nobody really knows if it's because if it's organic or if it was like where it was cultivated, you don't know. So that's why we want to go for this vertically integrated transparency, because I think that not only in fashion, but in everything that we do, in the way that we eat, in the way that we move around, there is a shift towards sustainability, towards things that are more ecological, towards being, because I think it's also this pandemic that affected us. And I was reading actually yesterday this very interesting article on The Economist about the world post-pandemic throughout history. So how people reacted in history post-pandemic. And I noticed, first of all, that there were a couple of conclusions. Very nice article. I think it was posted yesterday or 2 days ago. People can find it. On the Google. Yes, they say first that people are going to spend more. They're going to be more open. They're going to want to do much more activities, which is normal. And I think this is an excellent time for hemp companies to be alive. To be honest, I think it's an excellent time for you to start your own hemp company, because this is just going to grow and grow and grow. And when in 10 years, when in 5 years, when in 20 years, this is really going to be the thing. You want to say that you are there quite at the. It's pretty much like the internet. It was, back in the 90s. It's pretty much like that. It's very new. People don't know what to expect. There is a lot of uncertainty, of course. There is a lot of risk, and that's why you don't really see a lot of hemp companies, especially in textiles. There are companies that work with hemp textiles, which you can purchase them by the meter or by the yard and then use them. But I really mean that to get into the hemp textile, like, let's try to cultivate the hemp and let's try to process it towards the end product, because that's when you can really make a difference, and that's when people can notice you again, because you're at you're at the beginning of the value chain, and you go all the way towards the end client, the brand, the marketing, the strategy, etc.
Well, and this is where we're able to take care of and secure the strength, right? We've shown through the pandemic that the global supply chain is so broken if something happens.
Yes, there was that big ship that was stuck in the canal for like 1 week, and then the price somewhere on the globe of toilet paper tripled or something. It's crazy how we're all interdependent on each other. I really think I think people are really learned a lesson. I think we learned a lesson, and I think it's very important for us now to consider more and more to be in line with Mother Nature from the way that we consume. We are a very consume-oriented business, and we're very much disposable as a species. I think bees are definitely much more essential for planet Earth than humans. Humans are just very much disposable,
Hey, I have to give a shout out. One of my members is Operation Honeybee, so shout out to John, because he's seen huge success with his honeybees because of hemp and hemp related. And
yes,
so, back to that.
Nice.
So, anyways,
very nice. So I think we're slowly understanding the values of really eating and wearing and moving around, traveling in a more green way, sustainable, ecological, organic, whatever you want to call it. It's very essential. It's very essential, and it's essential. What do you put on your skin?
Right.
And I think my generation, at least by generation, I mean the millennials. Let's say people that were born after 1986. So this generation really much more cares about. That's where let's say people that are very interested in hemp come from. Also, people that are around. For us, the best target is people that are interested in our clothes are mostly around 30s, mid 30s. Not so much Generation Z, so not so much 18, 17, no.
Right.
Usually people in their 30, 35 towards
someone
40.
Who's got an established career, probably. Somebody who's dressing for that career. Yeah.
Exactly. Someone that is well-traveled. They move around, they see things. They normally are well-educated, above average education level. They speak a couple of languages. They have what is called disposable income. They have disposable income. They want to try something new, and they prefer to purchase a pair of trousers, maybe double or triple the price that what you can find at the local whatever store, made in whatever boat. But that's going to last you, and you put on yourself something that it's natural, it's organic, it's not chemically processed. So you put on yourself something that was grown out of the earth, and it was just mechanically processed in some remote part of Romania, because some people thought in communist time to make these machineries. And so why you should be interested in that is because first, your body is going to connect. It sounds weird, but the body connects with what you're wearing, with what you're eating, with and what do you have on you. It's very important.
Well,
and the way
our skin is our largest organ.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't it? Why wouldn't you? Right? Exactly. If you're running CBD oil on us because it's supposed to help with pain, why wouldn't we pull everything that's coming out of our clothing or our air or our walls or
Exactly. Well, because mostly of marketing, and because like some whatever fashion brands
Right.
manage to 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 peek behind the screen and to tell you that, look, if you wear this $3,000 nylon dress, or this but with a big brand on it, or with this 2,500 polyester dress, it's going to be, you're going to look fashionable, and you've seen it at the Paris Fashion Week, and you've seen it at the Milan Fashion Week, and so on and so on. But I really think that this generation, they care more about transparency. So for instance, people, these millennials, they want to know, okay, where was it made, who made it, can I see the person who made it, where was it grown, etc. They ask these endless questions. And because we are focused on men, men are a little bit more, I think, they don't purchase as much. This is from my experience. That's all. I don't know the statistics, or maybe there is a Deloitte or a report that will tell you more. But from my experience, they purchase less often than female, than women, but the value of their cart is mostly higher. So they are willing to spend more when they purchase something, which is good for us in a way. What I also found out is that they really like black and navy, and they don't want to wear anything else than black and navy. And most of it is to be their wife or their life partner telling them, look, you should try something else than black. And I mean, who's talking? I'm wearing black. But yes.
Well, I think when you're buying a staple piece, black and navy are comfortable, right? Khaki stains easier, or I mean, there's this like, yeah, I don't know, for me, and here I'm wearing black.
Yes, exactly. No, I understand. It's my favorite color. I wear black all the time, you know. So, but mostly, men, they purchase in our case black, black and navy. They love that. Then it's obviously the natural color, which I always recommend, because we don't dye it. It's the only one that it's not dyed. It's the only undyed fabric that we have, and it's really beautiful, because that is really the most pure fabric that we have. The beige one, anything in beige that you get, a jacket or a pair of trousers, a shorts, it's what I would recommend. And
okay,
it's yeah, yes, and it's beautiful to interact with clients, with this millennials that I said, they are very much interested, and they're captivated by what's going on in the sustainable fashion world. And obviously, what we need is, like, we also need these big brands to make a change, because they do have the power. If you're a small fashion house, you know, it's difficult to make such a change, to make a big change in a short period of time. But maybe big fashion houses, they don't want to sacrifice profit for some wishful thinking. I don't know, but we do try to make a change through what are we doing here on a daily basis. And that's why we, as I said, we call ourselves a hemp company, and we want to work just with hemp. We want to develop new fabrics. We always want to come with different things that people, I dare people to buy a pair of trousers from us, because it's really a different feeling than buying a hemp from, I would say, anywhere else. It's a really different feeling, and this is not something that I can describe, because people ask me, most of them, so how is it? How do you feel it? What is the feeling of it? And it's pretty much like trying to describe honey, you know. Just try it. Just try it a little bit, and then you'll know what honey is, you know.
It's true. Well, I would love to help share what you're doing. I'd love to help promote it. We have so many people in our organization that are professionals, that dress professionally all the time. Yeah, I'd love to help promote it. And there's no reason we can't be. And of course, I want one, but I'm not a man. I want a suit jacket that fits my needs. I'm tall. Yes. I need a tailored suit. Yeah.
We're going to make that. We also have an urban collection, not only a formal collection, but an urban collection. So we don't make hoodies yet, as what everyone wants, if we can make hoodies. But if if you're looking maybe for a street jacket, for an urban jacket that you can take it on a regular everyday basis, I would definitely recommend the Ardeal jacket from our collection.
Yeah.
It's what a man can definitely look very proper in. And just keep in mind, because we produce everything here locally, we offer basically 3 options for everyone interested. We offer what is called ready to wear, or in French, prêt-à-porter, meaning off the rack. You buy it as it is. We can offer made to measure, meaning that maybe you don't fit perfectly into a 38 or a 48 or whatever, and you did slightly adjustments, so we can also offer that. Or we can offer what's called the bespoke option, meaning again that you can really select every single piece of your hemp clothing. So you can make something that is in line with you, with your authenticity, with your style, ultimately, because that's very important. What your style is and how do you feel comfortable in. And that's what we try to do pretty much.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Well, I'm excited. Thank you very much for joining me today. We're already at an hour. I want to keep talking. But I'd love to have you back or invite you back for a Q&A that's about textiles. I run a textile committee meeting every 2 weeks, speaking about specifically. So I'd love to invite you. I'll send you over some links and emails. Anybody else, feel free to find information about it. It's on our website. We've got member-only events and not, but I'll tag you in a couple because I think that
Thank you.
You would.
With great pleasure.
I love it.
With great pleasure.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed our time. I would love to keep talking because I want to keep learning, but I'll let you go and get back to your productive day. And everybody else, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out. You can find us at the globalhempassociation.org or on any social media. Global Hemp
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's much appreciated. And stay safe and take care. All the best.
Thank you.
Bye bye.